Alright, so let's have another look at cross-site scripting, shall we? So I'm gonna set all the vulnerabilities to true on my website for a second. This should literally enable all of the exploits to work, and you're gonna see one immediately pop up. At least if I go to my user settings here, I can enter any cross-site scripting attack vector, like the broken image, for example. I can do that in last name as well. And then if I go home, you see, alright, I have to remember this. So I have to log in again because that username is being set on login. And here you can see two broken images. So if I go to my user settings, I can easily exploit this by sending an on-error event handler with the JavaScript event of alert. And that will, if I submit this value and if I log out and log back in, then you will see that I'm getting cross-site scripting pop-up. There we go. That is of course not supposed to happen. So that's one cross-site scripting example. Another one is a reflected cross-site scripting example that we have right here on the search bar. You will often see these as examples on the search bars, but of course, don't forget to test every single field that you see that's possible to enter one of these values. Oh, must have entered the wrong button there, but every single location where I can possibly enter a cross-site scripting attack vector, you will see me try that. And that's very deliberate, of course, because now let's see, the invoice should be here. I can see broken images again. So let's delete some items from here. Let's delete some invoices so it comes on the first page again. There we go. And now I can actually edit this item. Ooh, edit is apparently not working. I can create a new invoice. So I can set that up for the same date. Only this time I can insert any of these fields with a event handler again on error equals alert. And then if I submit this, I will get the same thing where a cross-site scripting attack vector will pop up, but only if I go to the second page of my invoices now. So here you will see, bam, it popped up. That is of course a vulnerability as well, stored cross-site scripting in this case in the HTML context. But if I go and have a look at these user settings, if I enter a single quote and a double quote, and as you can see I've already tried this before, if I enter something like this, you can see that I'm actually breaking out of the HTML tag attribute. So if we go and have a closer look at that, you can see that whatever I'm inputting right here, it's breaking my value attribute from the input tag. That's something really good because that means that I can enter my own code in there again. So just any script alert /script JavaScript will do. Let's submit that. And we're actually pausing execution. Don't know why that is. I think I didn't submit it properly. So just a broken image source equals X. And then the on error event handler. Yes, that's one of my favorites. And let's do prompt right now. In case alert is blocked, you need to be able to think of something else, of course, as well. You can use prompts, you can use alert, you can use confirm. Is it loading? I don't think it's entering the value for some reason. I'll have to look into that. But this shows that a reflected cross-site script, or stored cross-site scripting rather, can also happen in the input attribute tags. For example, in any attribute of an HTML tag, you might have a way to break out of that. So let's try this one more time. The I think the name fields are completely broken if I change anything now. Yeah, the name fields are completely broken because I broke out of it. So what can I do to test this further then? I can register a new user with a test username, test2. First name is gonna be image. Oh, I want to break out of the input tag, of course, but now I'm not gonna just enter some random value. I'm gonna enter image source equals X, and then I'm gonna say on error equals alert. And let's, for good measure, replace that by prompt. There we go. And the last name, I'm gonna put the same, but first the password. I'm gonna make the password the same as the username so I don't forget. There we go, and I'm already seeing some HTML injection right here. And if I now log in, so I can log in with that username and password. And if I then go to my user settings, I can see that my cross-site scripting actually worked. Now this might not seem such a bad vulnerability because it's only stored cross-site scripting in a section that the user can see but nobody else. So this is self cross-site scripting, but we can go to CSRF proof of concept. So you have this website called security.love CSRF proof of concept generator, and in our field, if we look at the request itself, this is the request, so this will be the URI. And if we look at the parameters which are being sent along, you just have to set the first name. Let's see, so we have our name and our last name field, input value. It's hard to see when these things are broken, but it would be something like first name and last name. So these will be the parameters. First name equals, and then we enter our attack value. So image source equals X, on error equals alert. There we go. And what we usually do is we URL encode these as well. So let's do that. URL encode online. There we go. I'm gonna URL encode that, and now I can paste that in and not have to worry that I break anything. Now, if I remove that for a second, you can see that this separator, in this case, the parameter separator, is the ampersand sign. So let's do that as well. We are going to say ampersand, and we had first name first. So of course, I'm gonna follow that up with a last name equals, and that's the same thing. It's in post. The encoding is application / xwww form URL encoded. Download that, and then if I execute that, you can see already that I have my first name and something went wrong here. It's okay, I'm just gonna enter the field myself. And now if I would have been logged in, I would have changed my name, and of course, oh, I'm logged in this field here, but if I would have logged in this user session right here, because I'm actually, as you can see, not logged in, I use a tab separator to separate my user sessions per tab. Anyway, I'm not logged into this tab, but would have been logged in, then I would have changed my name. So in that case, my cross-site scripting, my self cross-site scripting, would have turned into a CSRF attack, resulting in a cross-site scripting, and then Lord only knows what the damage might have been, because it really depends on what that cross-site scripting can hit. Can we steal a session token? That is a very big deal, of course. So that's a little bit about cross-site scripting in several different ways. Now, if I look back at the homepage encoding, you can see that there was a actually, if you look at it, you can see that we have Angular going on right here. So we have Angular 1.4.6. We can also see that if we look at Webalizer right here, you can see AngularJS 1.4.6. And now AngularJS is a vulnerable version to cross-site scripting. And that's actually what we use to pull off the cross-site scripting in the home page. So you have that type of cross-site scripting, you have your normal reflected cross-site scripting in the source, you have stored cross-site scripting in the source, stored cross-site scripting in the DOM, and that's this one, and then you have stored cross-site script, reflected cross-site scripting in the DOM as well. And that's usually a URL fragment or something like that. That will be the location where that comes from. And then I think we've seen the most popular cross-site scripting attacks possible in a little bit more realistic of a way.